Good evening, and welcome to the Weekly Voice, presented by VNN, bringing you today's top 10 Canadian news stories on May 16th, 2025. Let's get started. Prime Minister Mark Carney is taking a bold swing at Canada's housing crisis, pledging to double annual home building to 500,000 units. In his first press conference since the election, Carney unveiled a sweeping plan to reshape the housing industry. Key moves include $25 billion in financing for prefabricated construction, GST exemptions on new homes under $1.5 million ARS, and a new agency called Build Canada Homes. The government also plans to cap immigration to help balance housing demand. While critics say it may take time to see results, experts agree it's a step in the right direction. Will it be enough to bring prices back to earth? Time and concrete will tell. A new federal report is calling for the end of daily home mail delivery in Canada. The Industrial Inquiry Commission says Canada Post is facing a financial meltdown and must modernize to survive. Recommendations include replacing door-to-door delivery with community mailboxes and hiring more part-time workers for weekend parcels. The report also blames the Postal Workers Union for resisting change, urging more flexibility in operations. With strike action looming and negotiations on a knife's edge, Canadians could soon see major changes in how their mail is delivered, if it's delivered at all. A Surrey father is now the single biggest lottery winner in Canadian history. Justin Simporios was picking up supplies for a family dinner when he grabbed a $12 quick pick ticket at Walmart. Hours later, he realized he hit the $80 million Lotto Max jackpot. At a tearful press conference, Simporios said he plans to buy a dream home, support his mother and sister, and give back to the community. "I'm an immigrant. I've struggled. I'm just feeling blessed right now," he told reporters. His incredible win is a reminder that life can change in a single moment, sometimes between the bakery aisle and the checkout line. Canada, the United Kingdom, and Australia are all in economic trouble, and the warning signs are strikingly similar. From Vancouver to Sydney to Birmingham, housing costs are outpacing incomes. Manufacturing jobs are disappearing, and middle-class families are being squeezed. In Canada, US tariffs are hammering exports, while housing builds are falling short. In the UK, energy prices and post-Brexit slowdowns are fueling job losses. Australia's mining economy is cooling, and younger families are priced out of major cities. Experts say without bold policy changes, these countries could face a prolonged period of stagnation and a generation locked out of economic opportunity. Prime Minister Mark Carney is moving fast on affordability with a promised middle-class tax cut set to arrive this summer. Finance Minister François-Philippe Champagne says the Liberals will introduce a motion lowering the first income tax bracket from 15% to 14%, saving two-income households over $800 a year. While critics slam the government for delaying the federal budget, Carney's team is framing this as phase one of a broader economic reset. With Parliament returning May 26th and a confidence vote to follow, all eyes are on whether opposition MPs will back the cut or block it. Canada's housing market is cooling fast. New data shows a sharp drop in home prices nationwide, signaling what experts warn could be a deeper market correction. The Canadian Real Estate Association says prices are now nearly 9% below last year's peak, with markets like Vancouver and Toronto leading the slide. Rising interest rates, tighter lending, and affordability fatigue are forcing buyers out and pushing sellers to slash prices. Analysts believe this correction could drag into 2026. If you're waiting to buy, the window might just be opening. Michael Kovrig, the Canadian diplomat once jailed in China, says any new government hoping to reset relations with Beijing is in for a rude awakening. Speaking to CTV's Vasi Kapelos, Kovrig said, rising global tensions and China's growing interference threats make a diplomatic reset unrealistic. He called for steady, realistic dialogue and warned Ottawa must be ready for a harsher geopolitical environment. The message is clear. Canada needs a unified national strategy, not wishful thinking when dealing with Beijing's ambitions. Alberta Premier Danielle Smith is shaking up her cabinet, but that's not the only headline. her government just passed a controversial bill that lowers the bar for launching referendum questions, including on Alberta's potential separation from Canada. Critics say this move fuels division and undermines treaty rights. The bill sparked backlash from First Nations leaders, while the cabinet shuffle reflects Smith's evolving priorities in a province that's increasingly challenging federal authority. Political tensions in the West are heating up again. Canada's small businesses are on edge. A possible Canada Post strike looms next week as talks with the Postal Workers Union stall again. A similar strike last year froze the delivery of packages, letters, and online orders nationwide. Small retailers say they can't afford another disruption, especially in rural areas where Canada Post is often the only option. If no agreement is reached by May 22nd, thousands of postal workers could walk off the job, leaving businesses scrambling and consumers waiting. Ontario has dropped its 2025 budget, and it's massive. Premier Doug Ford's government unveiled a $30 billion spending plan aimed at shielding the province from rising U.S. tariffs. The budget includes emergency business relief, tax deferrals, job retraining, and major investments in transportation and Indigenous infrastructure. But it also comes with a record $14.6 billion deficit. Critics call it short-term thinking. The Ford government says it's the bold response Ontario needs to survive Trump's economic war. Either way, it's one of the province's biggest bets in recent history. That's all for today's top stories. Thank you for joining us on The Weekly Voice, presented by VNN. Stay informed, stay engaged, and we'll see you next time.